Hi, today's misty morning landscape is surprisingly easy for beginners to do. I'm using masking tape to mark out the horizon just slightly above the halfway mark of the canvas. I'm making a grey colour with my titanium white and black, and we're going to start painting in some trees in the distance. I'm using a small fan brush, but you could also use a filbert brush if you prefer. I'm moving my fan brush from side to side as I come down the canvas, making the tree slightly wider at the bottom. Now that I've finished painting in the trees, I'm going to let that dry completely. Next, I've got a large flat brush and I'm going to thin down some white paint with water, and I'm going to put a very thin coat of paint over the top of my trees. I'm being very gentle, barely touching the canvas, a very light touch, and just gliding that paint over the surface. It's time to add in the next row of trees. I've made this grey slightly darker than the last one, and we'll use similar techniques with the fan brush to paint in the next line of trees. And now that's dry, I've got my thin white paint again, and I'm going to very gently add another glaze of white paint. When that's all dry, we can add our final row of trees right at the front, and I'm making these ones a lot darker by adding more black. And now it's time to do the exact same thing with the reflections in the water. For the first line of reflected trees in the water, I left the paint slightly wet, so as I washed over the top with my white, it blurred it and softened it just a little. For the next layers, I've made sure that the trees are completely dry again before putting on the thin white paint. I'm going to sketch in my heron, and then we can come in with black paint and fill that in as a nice silhouette. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button for me.